I think there's still more e-files to be dug up. I think that thing hasn't gone away based on cycle repetition and pattern recognition. There are certain things that occurred in the past that are being reactivated around that story.
But Sweden basically passed a good behavior law to kick out misbehaving immigrants. I can see this is like the turning point of the whole Trump and MAGA movement, going down the drain, literally, because people are just turning on the movement altogether.
You're saying that Trump literally is seen with some pale-haired person?
He posted this and then quickly deleted it. This is the screenshot.
Okay, and does that pale-haired person, because it's a small graphic, do they look not human in some way? Guys, welcome to the month of July. It is not going to be any old astrological month. It might, in fact, be the launch pad of one of the biggest turning points in the decade. With Mars colliding with Uranus on America's birthday and Saturn and Neptune both stationing retrograde, well, the nodes of fate are also changing signs with a rare planetary formation called a Barbeau Basket by contemporary astrologers, also known as a cradle. We are heading into an explosive energy, and we're also in the buildup for the eclipse season of August of 2026. So this July is an entirely important energy. We could call it a runway for change. Today in this video, Donny Lim and I will break down the astrology behind the headlines and the financial and political shifts that may be coming our way. And if you're listening to this today, you might also consider looking back to June, which Donny and I talked about last month. He also goes over June in this video. Around the 60-minute mark, we'll be jumping into July. In the first hour, we're looking back at June. So use what you like, watch and listen, and I hope you'll enjoy the ride with Donny Lim and Lothian of Lunatic Astrology. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And just so you know, I'm teaching Sky Reader this fall. It's my 7th season teaching, and it's my introductory class for all astrologers. If you like to learn the basics of astrology, to read your own sky, to time your best life, to be your own astrologer, then these 7 weeks, this September, October, are probably where you need to be. We have guest teachers, we have weekly Q&As, we have a teaching staff helping me, and it's my favorite class to teach. So come aboard, check it out. The super discount code for Sky Reader expires already at the end of July. That's $200 off the price. It's already affordable. So please consider coming aboard the early bird discount rate. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome to Donny Lim and Lothian, recorded for you on June the 24th. Welcome, Donny, once again to our look at the month ahead astrology. Welcome all the way from Singapore. This is Donny Lim, and tell us what you're up to a little bit and where we might want to focus with you and your business online. And let's get started then diving into this crazy month of July that has been heralded as the dawning of a golden age. Hi, Donny.
Hi. June. I'm still like coming off of my birthday month. We are recording this end of June. I did have a very interesting birthday because I did go out on that date, like I mentioned in May's video. And it was so dry, conversation-wise, that I had to make some comedy out of it like a Gemini does.
And when was your birthday? So everyone can celebrate after the fact.
I'm exactly 2 calendar months after you, to the day.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And in today's time together, you're going to be bringing us through some of the more important elements of the month of July that you've got your finger on the pulse of. Are you going to want to go a little bit over last month, June, to give us some retrospective as well, or how are we approaching it today?
Last month's video is pretty loaded, so I'm just like clipping from the news, whatever I can find on, Google. Whatever that's relevant, and I just kind of like, do like a montage of stuff that happened month to date,
Okay.
when we tape this on the 24th.
Yeah, and we've got a seemingly in the world of astrology peace deal going on with Iran.
They kind of fell through, isn't it? We kind of expected
Well,
that.
it's definitely hard to hold on to, right? It's a really slippery one. It's slippery. It's really slippery.
Yeah, and I can see this is like the turning point of the whole Trump and MAGA movement, going down the drain, literally, because people are just turning on the movement altogether. And this kind of leads me to my next point, talking about July, because we're talking about that exactly. And this is like the lead up to August, which is the eclipse portal. And it's a very huge eclipse portal, by the way. Because in the middle of August, with that, was it 20-degree Leo total solar eclipse? Hours prior, Pluto goes out of bounds again for a good couple of
Yeah.
months. And there's a planetary parade less than 24 hours before the total solar eclipse in the middle of August. So you can see how uh, it kind of is kaboom, especially with that Pluto going out of bound in the sky till I think December. And I think we've already seen that even weeks prior. Just look at the people of Albania.
Oh yeah, exactly. Albania
Mm,
protesting. Yes.
exactly.
Do you know it's interesting with Pluto out of bounds too, because it is out of bounds intermittently for a decade, right? And usually late summer, sometime in August to sometime November and December. So it keeps pulsing this energy into the collective. And for those of you listening, it's Pluto out of bounds. Like what are we talking about in the South Declination, which has tended to happen in periods of time where the people rise up against power structures that they feel are oppressive or not in their interests, like the American and French Revolution, like the Protestant Reformation against the Catholic Church's control. So where there's control structures over people, people will rebel. And so while we all think that we're going to be in some kind of like AI social credit state or something and surveillance, the Pluto out of bounds is telling us probably something different is going to be happening here than what we expected at the worst edge of, technocratic oligarchic control. So I'm hoping that the Pluto out of bounds is like the wild card element that means that the people will seize power. And like Donnie said, MAGA, it seems like, and we're not Trump derangement, I'm not, I'm Canadian. I just mean that the whole intensity of hope that make America great again was a thing seems to have disintegrated in the face of contrary storylines emerging, right? So there is a feeling then also of the internal revolt within the actual MAGA movement itself.
I think that's also tied to the piece from July onwards that the transit nodal axis will change signs.
Yes.
And the South Node, together with Jupiter, and then Mars will go back and forth all over Trump's ascendant
Yeah. Yeah.
and Mars as well.
And then when
And
we
that kind of will kind of derail, I think, the whole mega movement, to be exact.
Yeah, and I think there's still more e-files to be dug up. I think that thing hasn't gone away based on cycle repetition and pattern recognition. There are certain things that occurred in the past that are being reactivated around that story. But I think you mentioned a great point. You used the word eclipse portal, which is a favorite lingo of astrologers. A portal is opening, but it is true that the eclipse of August the 12th, total solar eclipse, is going to activate at 20 degrees of the sign of Leo is going to activate before we get there. You'll often see the eclipse energy at least minimum, I find, 6 weeks beforehand, especially with a total eclipse. You'll start to see themes emerge that are literally about the eclipse.
I mean, on the day, like I mentioned prior, like there's a Pluto going out of bound officially, less than 24 hours from that total solar eclipse. And then there's a planetary parade in the sky, less
Mm-hmm.
than 24 hours prior to that eclipse as well. So you can imagine there's so many symbolisms that's like converging to actually mean, oh my God, this is huge. Um, the month after August, after the eclipses, will be, I think, October, because that's when the out of bound Pluto will be ruling that Mercury and Venus retrograde in Scorpio.
Right, right. Yeah, if you're using
Yeah.
the modern rulerships for sure.
Yes.
All right. So are we looking at a bit of a slideshow today, or how are we going to go?
You know it.
Okay, wonderful. Do you have power to share, or do I need to give you power to share?
No, I think it's all good. I think we've got it
Okay.
all sorted,
Okay.
actually. And I mean, you know where to find me, guys. And I recently published an article on that famous couple, Baby and JJ, and I've gotten lots of flack, but I'm not backing down. Even lost like a good chunk of followers because of that, but it is what it is.
Oh, did you really? Okay. Well, people are easily offended these days. A right to be offended is the main motto of the reality structure.
I think culturally there's really shifts on celebrity worship. Those who actually agree with whatever that I've written, because I use like modern Uranian astrology to analyze things, and I do see that there's about to be a big expose on them next year, 2027, in short.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you can find me on my handle. That's my name, Donny Lim, on YouTube, Substack, and also if you want to tip me, of course, I've got one at ko-fi Coffee. That's my tip jar. And then if you want to see, or should I say, reach out to me using other links that I have, or just check me out on the other socials beside these, then you can go to my e-business card, which has all the links updated. And July, what a month. And we've got Neptune stationing retrograde, Saturn stationing retrograde, Mercury coming to station direct, and then the nodal axis changing signs. And then early in the month of July, we've got Mars and Uranus conjuncting very close to 4th of July, the birthday of the US Sibley chart. And not to forget that, well, should I say the elephant in the room? Approximately 2 weeks after Mars and Uranus will meet up in early Gemini, that's when we'll have the Barbeau Basket or cradle forming in the sky. It'll be exact. Every planet will be at 4 to 5 degrees of their individual signs, and they're all masculine signs, by the way. So a whole lot of things are going on. So we can see like a whole new paradigm, or should I say a whole new world is being birthed as this Barbeau basket or cradle is being formed in the sky. When the moon reaches 4 degrees of Libra, there will be just one missing point in the formation of a Star of David in the sky, geometrically. So you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in terms of July 2026 with all the stationing, direct or retrograde, and conjunctions. By the way, the nodal axis and Saturn, one ingress and one station retrograde will happen on the same day. Late July, on the 26th. So it's like nonstop. Like how me and Laurie mentioned earlier in our introduction, or should I say extended introduction, this is the lead up to August and also October coming up.
I have just a quick question. So
Yes.
you did. I like that you noted that the moon for like a day basically will create almost a Star of David. I wonder though, just out loud, a thought, that 9 degree Antares lunation that we had not long ago. Was that last month? That, a 9 degree, 4 degree, it's not bad. I mean, you could actually say the hot spot of the Antares fueled full moon could actually be activated. You know what I mean? Like as like a piece of real estate that's just behind us. So it'll be an interesting thing to notice if the Antares themes that connected to that lunation are reactivated on the day the moon is in Libra.
The closest outer planet will be Uranus. So when Uranus is inching closer and closer to the Antares and Aldebaran axis, I think we're going to see something spectacular going back to that lunation,
Right.
actually. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Mars is headed for 8 degrees, right?
Mm-hmm. We're going to
Which
see the
is very
activation.
connected to the United States and its own situation with its own placements of
And not to
Uranus.
forget that Mars, after that lunation, is going to approach around 24 Gemini. That's going to activate that Gemini new moon very close to Trump's birthday.
Right. Okay.
Because that lunation is squaring Nessus in Pisces at the same time.
Okay.
Ooh, so there's going to be like some, pardon me, but some shit going down.
Yeah. Okay. These are things to be wondering about. All right. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited by some of this stuff, actually. A new world being born. Let's hope.
Yeah, but I appreciate Barbeau's optimism of what he said pertaining to what this basket or cradle can be. But I beg to differ after looking at what's been going on for the longest time. So
Yeah, well, and to give Barbeau credit, right? His real focus was the mini grand trine forming between the three outer planets, where he really felt this became a signature in 25, 26 for the kind of turning point for humanity as Pluto and Neptune and Uranus created that triangle. And that the fact that we end up with a cradle or a basket, I'm not sure he even addressed that. I know Dan Waits was looking to find out if Barbeau actually talked about this formation, or he only really talked about the miniature trine. So I think that we kind of took it further than he might have. And all said and done, anytime Pluto and Jupiter are opposite each other, we're not talking like smooth waters, right? So there's a part of that opposition that this basket is, it's hypercharged energy around confrontation or polarity.
Oh yes, and I may have a phrase, or should I say, a phrase of advice for content creators just like yourself to actually have your own functioning server of content if ever that's about to be some kind of mass control over what you can publish and what you can't. Basically, is about narrative control, because I see with that Barbeau Basket or cradle, because of the opposition between Jupiter and Pluto, is about the war on decentralized thought versus centralized control. I see that going on.
Well, yeah, and Jupiter will be the word truth, and Pluto will be the word, hidden or unrevealed or needing to be revealed at archetypal levels. I do feel like that we're winning, like the people are rising up, and decentralized power will be the way it goes. But I think it's going to be a ride to get there.
It will be a ride. If you think now to 2030 is kind of crazy, with Pluto being out of bound intermittently from August to December. When we hit the first half of the 2030s, Uranus will go out of bound as well.
Yeah. And so everybody listening, and for people who don't know what out of bounds means, it's like conceptually, it means like untethered from the sun's channel of the ecliptic. And so it means that you're kind of like unleashed, the planet's unleashed in a way. It can be beyond the pale, or doing on things that's out of the normative, or, out of the normal range of what the planet's capable of doing, because it doesn't have itself within sort of the control channel of the solar system sun. So archetypally, it's a bit rogue, but it can also be extremely exciting, right? It's almost like, can you color outside the lines? Yeah, you can, because we're outside the ecliptic of the sun's path around, from our vantage point. So this is a kind of exciting, and it's also kind of wild card energy.
Yeah, I mean, the two words I can think of when a planet goes out of bound is wayward and extreme. And probably the third characteristic is more Uranian. So you got Uranus going out of bound. Just saying.
Yeah.
So how about we move on to talk about June recap, because there's a lot of headlines here. And I'll just kind of touch and go with some of them because, people can read, of course, all this montage of headlines. And of course, one of the main things that I talked about last month is the El Nino. So India has been going through it the most. I think they basically hit like in Fahrenheit, I think it's 120 to 130 degree Fahrenheit consistently in terms of heat, and only 10% of the country has got AC.
Wow.
So you can imagine crops will be affected, and people are like, heat stroke, and some didn't survive. And of course, on another hand, we've got Bill Gates arrives in DC to testify about his friendship with JE, which happened. That one is a prominent piece. Because I do see, okay, this is looking further into the future. I see him getting ill later this decade.
Bill Gates.
Yeah. And there's a good chance he may not be with us next decade. So take it as what you will. CERN closes down on 29th of June 2026. So as we are recording this on 24th, 5 more days, CERN is still active, and then it'll be shut down for 4 years till June 2030. I find that timing very fishy.
Well, that is really weird. I've never heard of it. Does it normally shut down for long windows of years?
Last time it shut was over COVID.
Okay.
Do they know something that we don't?
This is fascinating. Yeah.
And then, of course, we've got ticks going all around us, and the screwworm is back 60 years after it's eradicated in the US. Because, of course, Doge, headed by Elon Musk, basically cut all the relevant manpower and resources, and now we have the screwworm back in the States.
Which impacts cattle primarily, correct?
Well, but then it just migrates up even to where you are in Canada. Just saying. So this is like, and then we've got the launch or the IPO of SpaceX. This basically made, on paper, Elon Musk a trillionaire. And this is very close to the Venus-Jupiter conjunction that trines his natal Jupiter in Scorpio.
Mm-hmm.
And then the nodal axis squaring Uranus and Ceres is activating his Saturn. So Jupiter and Saturn in his chart in June itself is being activated, and that raises his worth or net worth into the stratosphere.
Yeah, well, it goes to show you astrology works, because the Venus-Jupiter conjunction is in a trine to his ascendant as well on the dog star Sirius. So, which can bring fame and wealth on its own. So literally that conjunction that can only happen once every 12 years, although it doubled down last year and this year, in August of last year, and now just behind us in July of this year, it literally is like, let me jump and pump you up, right? Like wealth and power. It's like, yeah, this guy is now, he's like as powerful as if the money holds, because it's all on paper, so to speak. The guy's like as powerful as a nation, as a corporate, as a nation, as a state. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Brazil, basically there's news coming out of Brazil that they've got UFO files that's available for people to read. The next little bit here, and the next little bit is that the Thailand's princess basically passed at age 47. This one basically stemmed from the astrocartography lines back in June 2026 that keep on highlighting that part of the world, including Thailand. And unfortunately, in June, the princess did pass. And this was like a big deal because I think it was years ago. I think she took several syringes of liquid, and that led to her falling really sick afterwards. And unfortunately, in June 2026, she finally transitioned.
Wow.
Yep. And on other news, kudos to people in Albania because I've seen clips of them really going at it. You know, last few days there's clips of people just going past the barricade and destroying stuff, which I'm kind of here for. And this, I find, in the bigger scheme of things, is tied to Peter Thiel's dialogue organization or secret society, which, among other things, involve prepping for World War III. And this is via leaked information or reports that came out in June 2026. And that's why they need the nuclear bunkers, which is on the island in which Ivanka and Jared want to take over.
Mm. And so this kind of whistleblowing leakage of information that, is undoing some of the secret societies of the world. What are you seeing in the astrology? Is this the Iranian activation with the Pluto and Neptune?
It's two things. One of them is Uranus and Ceres squaring the nodes. That's still ongoing as we speak. But the other one is that Gemini new moon squaring Nessus and Pisces.
Okay. So how do you take Nessus? What is the meaning of that for you?
Nessus, on one hand, can be the abuser. When it's squaring a new moon point in Gemini, there can be news to expose the abuser.
Brilliant. Okay.
And on another level, that Uranus and Ceres squaring the nodes is adding to that whistleblowing energy, isn't it? It's a mutable square.
Yeah. And that's pretty rare, this whole Uranus spending the nodes of fate in this way. And so it really does bring us into, I tracked the last time it happened, I can't remember, 1891 or something. But what it is really also feels very timeline shifting to me. There's something about Uranus, Promethean fire, the quantum world. It almost feels like when we get Uranus squaring the nodes, we're literally like looking at almost a kind of sliding doors moment, where things are going to take one path or the other in a multiverse. Do you know what I mean? Does that feel right?
It's almost like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, very Twilight Zone. Very Twilight Zone.
And because of that new moon in Gemini squaring Nessus, it's almost like, what's that show called? Tales from the Crypt?
Yeah. We need to cue the Twilight Zone music. Do 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 do.
And in more recent days, I managed to complete this portion because world leaders are angry, and then they basically ban Ivanka because of the Albania outcry. This is to send a warning to the rest of the world. So I've talked about, that new moon squaring Nessus close to Trump's birthday and how all the kids are grifters. And one of the kids basically received all the blowback.
Mm-hmm. And remember, we don't have Trump derangement syndrome. Honestly, we're just talking about this is happening and the sky is reflecting it.
No, because Gemini also talks about kids, right? So
yes, Gemini is the youth. Yeah. Yeah,
and also one of Trump's kids, I think, is Barron. A tone deaf business, and a big potential failure as well. I think the only person right now who's not profiting as much as all the rest.
Tiffany
is one. I think Melania is not profiting as much. Yeah, the rest of them are just like, free for all.
Right.
And of course, the UFC Freedom 250 event happened, despite I say that there's a good chance of it being cancelled or postponed, but there's so much money to be made. And I heard through the grapevine that there's actually another assassination attempt with this event that was not told to the public as well. So, but there's also some rigging with the UFC Freedom 250 fight that garnered a lot of wealth for the Trump kids, particularly those two older sons of his. And I also want to mention here that in June, there's a very large earthquake, as mentioned in the Astrocartography energies for June, that happened in the Philippines. This one is magnitude 7.8. And this really sent shock waves. I didn't feel it, thank God, because it's too far away, but it has ramifications afterwards. And of course, we've got quite a number of violent crimes, and also subsequent protests. I'm talking about those, one in Southampton, Henry Novak. And then we've got also, not one, not two, I heard there's 3 beheadings that occurred in June. And that's actually coming from the Aries and Cancer squares that happened in June 2026. And I did post on that, or should I say post about that on my Substack for those who want to read it, sure. Thank God their influence was very short, but there was one that happened in Belfast that led to protest and violence. But then I heard there's 2 more, one in Barcelona and one in Florence, Italy, over those like couple of days, which is crazy to me. 3 beheadings. And this one I want to particularly mention just slightly longer because Colombia just had their election and it was a big upset. So I did mention last month about Honduras Gate. And then Colombia is one of the affected countries that's being targeted on top of Mexico and one other to basically convert them to the other wing.
And the other way is to not be socialist. Is that correct?
Basically from, was it left to right? I think it's what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Colombia became right wing, with this election upset. So there's something to do with Honduras Gate, like I mentioned, or keep on stressing for June. So there's some developments. And then, I'll get through this fast. And some of them, I may put in some humor to it. First and foremost, France recorded the hottest day ever, as 40 people did drown as they're trying to cool off. And there's this, I think, musician, Oliver Tree, that died in a plane crash over in Brazil. Brazil again. And St. Andreas Fault. There's a lot of pressure building up there, and there's like news coming out of it. So I'm anticipating, because this is the lead up to that Mars-Uranus conjunction in July. So the west coast of the USA, just, take note. Of course, there's some rigging over the UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House. But I also think that that event also exposed Trump's accelerating neurological disorder or issues.
What happened? I didn't track that. Is it because did he fall asleep?
Yeah. There's one of many things besides falling asleep, is probably like the most mild, amongst many things. And of course, coordination wise, it also came up for debate during the event. That's why people are saying that, his health is accelerating but going downward in spiral. And over in Sweden, this one I picked up just, I think, yesterday for this podcast. But Sweden basically passed a good behavior law to kick out misbehaving immigrants. So this could be the start of a wave of strengthening borders or immigration.
Well, that makes sense. Just as a general theme. No, but Saturn with Neptune, right, in Aries. It's
I've got Saturn at the back, if people can see it.
Exactly. We're looking at getting those borders fortified, apparently.
Yes. And Trump did admit that they do have an oil supply crisis, and that's why the peace deal was being accelerated. But I just find it amazing that he did say at the G7 meeting in France that when reporters asked him, the whole thing regarding Iran and stuff, and he said he doesn't care as long as Iran behaves, which I find it comical.
Well, I know, right? I noticed lately he's like, what do you call it? Executive function that regulates what you should or shouldn't say as going to a little haywire, like a robot's fried out. And that's not bad, actually, because he does now blurt out things that are like what's that expression? Saying the quiet part out loud. He does a lot of saying the quiet part out loud.
He's spilling the real tea. Yeah. Well, not as if like he's cognizant of whatever he's saying, but I just want to say that, of course, the peace deal didn't work out because the blue and white state can't stop attacking Lebanon. That's part of the peace deal condition. And there's one side piece that happened also in Brazil, which I find it bizarre. It happened close to that new moon squaring Nessus in Pisces. Someone in Brazil was bungee jumping and the safety rope wasn't attached. And her arms were outstretched and two men just basically threw her off the bridge.
Wow.
That one is that Gemini new moon energy. Because that Nessus in Pisces, it can be kind of like a ritualistic sacrifice. That's how I view it. There's that Nessus energy. Another big news. Of course, Trump posted something with aliens. That one is I don't know what's that about. Maybe it's prepping us for the disclosure. That's why CERN is being shut off.
So, Donnie, I didn't catch that in the news. So there's something with like you're saying that Trump literally is seen with some pale-haired person.
Oh yeah, there's he posted this and then quickly deleted it. This is the screenshot.
Okay, and does that pale-haired person, because it's a small graphic, do they look not human in some way?
Just very pale and very Avatar, but in white.
Oh, that's so crazy. Oh, that's so crazy. Okay, thanks for sharing that one. I missed that.
And there's another airline, this time in Nigeria, that went bust. We talked about that last month regarding like it's being hard, times are getting harder to travel because of the fuel and also like airlines going bust. So this one happened in Nigeria. And of course, Keir Starmer resigned. And I got to toot my own horn because I did use the Venus star point technique, which I use a lot amongst many other predictive techniques. And it all converged to him resigning in the first half of 2026. And I've put out that prediction 1 to 2 years ago.
Wonderful. I mean, not wonderful that he resigned. I don't know much about it.
The next one isn't that great either, put it that way. But I just want to tell the UK audience that's watching this podcast that the next one is going to be the last one that belonged to the Labour Party before it switches to Reform. Nigel Farage. I'll just leave it there. And there's 71 missing female students found in a tunnel. This happened in New York State. Very close to the Gemini new moon squaring Nessus. And this happens so close to the beginning of the World Cup. And as we know, the World Cup is not just about sports and celebration, but there's a whole bunch of shady things that's happening behind the scenes, such as trafficking. And also lots of money are changing hands. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the next part, let me bring some humor because it's all doom and gloom, right? When I think about Tyra Banks, it's always like, you want to be on top? With the wind in the hair. And he is suing Netflix because of one of the two documentaries about the toxicity of reality TV that covered America's Next Top Model, or ANTM for short. I have the pleasure of, years ago, during the lockdown, I've read for, I think, two former ANTM alumni as clients, and the kind of things they go through. Oh my God. I kind of find it ironic that she is suing Netflix for defamation. How about those girls that's edited in such a way that they can't find jobs, their life are ruined? And yeah, one of the contestant stories, I think Cycle 2, Shandy Sullivan, is horrific. I'll just leave it there. This one is coming from Norway because the astrocartography lines did cover the northern part of Europe last month. Well, should I say this month, because we're taping end of June. Marius Borg Hoiby, he's been convicted of all these allegations, RAPE, domestic abuse, DRUG charges, so on and so forth. And he's the stepson to the royal family of Norway. And the mother is mentioned quite a bit in the Epi files.
Oh, boy.
Very close friends with JE.
Wow.
For this dude, he's going through his Saturn return in Aries. It started last year. And this new moon that just passed, this Gemini new moon basically activated a whole bunch of things in his chart. And then the transiting outer planets are also activating his chart, lighting his chart up like a Christmas tree.
Wait, whose chart are we talking about right now?
Marius Borg Hoiby.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. I just want to make sure. Okay. Because we had deviated to Epi files and JD. Okay, so we're still with Marius.
It's all like in this big, big thing.
Yeah.
Right? And seems like JD Vance's political career is toast, because it's almost like he's being put through a humiliation ritual. And he's got an ascendant very close to Trump's, a late Leo rising, and it's not boding well for him. Basically, he went on The View and got really grilled like crazy by the ladies, trying to promote his book, Gemini.
Yeah, I saw that, some bits and pieces of that. Yeah, he didn't come off strong in the face of their questions, but also it's like, he was kind of like Prince in waiting, groomed. And the only way I see him taking any power before the election is because he has to stand in for a very ill Trump. So he already, that's kind of, the lame place, I'm just stepping in for an ill president. And he doesn't seem like he has the power to actually make a bid for the presidency in 2028. I have a prediction: 2028 will be in the election of a female president of the United States of America.
I'm diverging from you for 2028. I do see a person of color.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
But it's still a dude.
Let's get us some Polymarket. Was Donnie right or Lori right? Polymarket. Okay, well, I'll look into it. I'll look into it more. But I keep seeing like almost just like 100 Ways to Sunday, the female energy. So we'll see.
I do see a person of color. I think it's Marco Rubio.
Mm.
He's the only one that's qualified in that administration.
Mm-hmm.
Not JD. JD is basically toast. Even his, former boss, Peter Thiel, went to Buenos Aires, Argentina to settle down, put it that way. And talking about incidents, we've got 8 crew members that was killed in the B-52 bomber crash in California. But then at the same time, there was also something that happened in Siberia as well. Of course, it's the blue and white state sabotaging the peace deal. That happened over in California and also in Siberia as well. Regarding the Ebola, it seems like there's more and more bad news pertaining to that coming out of Congo or the DRC. And we may actually see developments in the coming months of that.
You mean the Ebola crisis continuing to emerge as a theme after?
Yes.
Okay.
In the coming months. Well, part of it is July, but then I'll just gloss through when we cover July's lunations. And then in other news, there's actually 2 massive fireball meteors captured in the US in June 2026 itself. One of them is in Tennessee that went to Illinois and Texas. And there's another one happening during the daytime that zipped over the Midwest, lighting up the skies of Ohio and Michigan. I know you love your UFO, so that's why I'm throwing it in here.
Yeah, just go watch Stefan Burns about it too. He's like, okay, what do we got going on here? Or Angry Astronaut. People wonder if it's bits and pieces of what was that? 3i Atlas, who are we're in Atlas, we're in the 3i Atlas debris trail crossing through it. Apparently that could be true.
In other news, is still linked back to that Gemini new moon squaring Nessus and Pisces, because the DOJ basically issued a legal opinion that's targeting the disabled part of the population. So they are liable to be institutionalized away from their communities.
Wow.
And last but not least, Clive Davis finally transitioned.
Who is Clive Davis?
The one who signed Whitney Houston.
Okay.
But then, he's also involved in the Diddlers stuff.
Oh, the E stuff. That community.
No? The Diddler.
Okay.
The Diddler. In which he plays dumb, because there's clips of him playing dumb. Suddenly he's got dementia. Being questioned by the press. So what's happening in July? There's 2 lunations, hallelujah, not 3. I do see that overall in July 2026, there's a lot of things going on. I've already captured it in pictorial form, what's actually going on. I know it's very wordy, but middle of July, the Cancer new moon is going to really amp up the USA Sibley chart, because it's going to pick up the Mercury-Pluto opposition within the Sibley chart for the US. This is before Mars and Uranus conjuncts on 4th of July. The Sun's position in the Sibley chart, just to kick off things. And what all this is converging to tell me is that the US, Israel, Iran thing, it just is a nagging problem. It sticks with you like a venereal disease. If you know what I mean, it's it just won't go away. And this is going to really drag global economies Yeah, we'll start to really feel the full impact of the Straits of Hormuz. Now it's closed again. There's no confirmed dates of reopening. We start to feel the full impact, I think, in 2027 when Chiron fully enters Taurus.
I agree. Chiron and Taurus is always connected to inflation, oil shortages, and stock market down.
Austerity. Yeah.
Austerity.
Material austerity. And of course, there's a data centers popping up everywhere, sucking up resources, polluting the environment, and just making us all go crazy with the background humming sounds. This is definitely accelerating everything. So I do see that late 2027, we may need to brace for impact. That's when the real economic shitstorm may actually hit us.
Mm-hmm.
I do see that in July 2027, oil prices may actually hit a new record high. This can be, I'm just putting a rough figure, 150 to 200 US dollars per barrel momentarily. But it's still on the high side. And this can be due to the Barbeau Basket or cradle just kind of giving the extra whoosh to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the World Cup, because it's concluding in July, it becomes like a convenient outlet or platform for socio or geopolitical issues that's playing out in the world. And I still see that the World Cup will be impacted, sabotaged, potentially, and partially postponed or cancelled. Some aspects of the original programming, at least. The next one I've mentioned in June regarding now that Chiron has officially entered Taurus on the 19th of June and will stay there till, was it September? Yeah,
September 17th, yeah.
Okay, then it goes back into Aries for one last time. We are seeing the preview of potential global economic hard times and austerity. And coming up, because the Mars and Uranus conjunction in Gemini in the early part of the month, it sets the tone of the US's Uranus return. So we will see things kind of play out, or should I say break down, put it that way. And
on top of which it is the happy birthday July 4th chart. So it bakes into the Sibley birthday chart for the United States, that conjunction between Uranus and Mars.
And not to forget that on top of that Mars and Uranus conjunct, we've also got that Jupiter and Chiron square, fixed square, that's being crystallized in the USA birthday chart for 2026. And that may actually represent some kind of unrest, upheaval, protests, or even terrorist attacks. I do see that. I'm not saying that will probably happen.
Yeah.
But if it actually happens, it can also be blamed onto other places. I'm talking about very 9/11-ish vibes.
Right. Yeah. Like creating an event to stimulate public consensus. I think the people are so jaded now. The average person is aware of manipulation of the masses through psyops and false flags. I don't know if it can work anymore the way it used to. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if people will have a buy-in anymore. Even Tucker Carlson, who's completely gone radically, awake to manipulation of the people. I don't know if it'd even work if that was tried. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But you're talking about, I just want to clarify, yes, Chiron, 0 Taurus kind of thing, Jupiter, 0 Leo, and that square is baking in for the United States a whole year, like you bake something into a kiln and clay. It sort of stamps the energy field in the United States of that square. And you're tying that potential event, a terror event, to a Jupiter square Chiron, or are you really thinking about the Mars-Uranus conjunction that's baked in?
Both.
Okay.
Because both are pretty tight in their one is conjunction, one is square.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's going to be some false flag event that's going to be blamed on, well, I suppose we all now know who controls the Straits of Hormuz. They're trying to probably deflect and blame it on them. I just want to mention here that it's only in middle of August 2026 that transit Pluto will go out of bound. But even 8 to 9 weeks prior, we've got Bolivia, Turkey, and Serbia having their uprisings, protests, and revolutions going on already. This year is going to be stacked. This one. And especially when we reach the mid-August 2026 Leo total solar eclipse with a planetary parade baked into it as well. So what I'm trying to say is that July is the ramping up month to August. The next one being October. And later this year, we may also see like more IPOs coming out from other AI companies, OpenAI and Anthropic as well.
Right.
So SpaceX started this very close to the Gemini new moon. And later in the year, we're going to see OpenAI and Anthropic following suit. And by the way, starting 8th of July 2026, Anthropic will need you to undergo identity verification to use their services. So this can be one of July's theme of being anonymous on the internet is coming to a hard end.
Right.
That's perhaps also baked into the Barbeau Basket or cradle as well. On top of the nodal axis, ingressing into new signs and Saturn stationing retrograde. All like, coming into play. And for July's new moon, I mean, this is pretty much piggybacking on June's energy, but this time because it triggers the USA's Mercury Pluto opposition, it picks up on the opposition in their Sibley chart. Some things are about to be disclosed.
Such as?
I mean, if you're talking about whole signs, it's in their whole sign 2nd and 8th house, so it's something to do with finances, economy, the effects of money printing all these years, etc., etc., and inflation also can be 2nd, 8th house axis, or the jobs numbers.
Okay.
The actual jobs numbers.
The real numbers, yeah.
The real numbers.
Or even a banking scandal, another one.
Yeah, something of that nature. I do see that. Of course, there's all this that I've written for people to read in their own free time. Just take a screen snapshot in high resolution on YouTube, and you'll be good. And there's further indications there's going to be some disclosures because over this July 2026 new moon in Cancer, there's going to be, for this I use trans-Neptunian objects. There's Hades and Kronos in Cancer, trining to Poseidon in Scorpio. E-files, anyone? Yeah.
Yep.
Something regarding that. And perhaps we will get to know how many institutions are behind the e-files. I know JP Morgan is.
Wow.
Funding, all this stuff that's been going on for eons.
Right.
And I've listed here like the impacts, be it on international trade and agreements, social media and information landscape, market fluctuations and economic systems. We may be in for a turbulent market period. And also when I say they, which means the big Western powers, they may be spending more money on defense and warfare dynamics as well. All these are baked into this July 2026 new moon. And of course, I got to talk about the Sabian symbol. This one doesn't really add anything more that I have not talked about thus far. Just note that there's going to be some level of chaotic energy with this July Cancer new moon. People will be spinning their narratives in all directions in which you have to discern. So
Yeah,
use that
especially when
Virgo
yeah,
energy.
especially with the markets. I like that you wrote divergence between the sentiment and the fundamentals. That reminds me of Alan Greenspan going that the tech bubble had .com bubble had irrational exuberance. You know what I mean? But there is almost a little bit of that same feeling. The market is like effervescent and frothy, but the PE ratios are insane.
Mm. And also, there's a side topic which is regarding because Cancer is about that chariot energy, right, in the tarot, and it's about defending what's yours, belonging. With that Gemini energy, which has Ceres and um, Uranus, there's going to be even more outcry, or should I say, news pertaining to the data centers that's been popping up as well.
Yeah, I see that too. I see that.
That's spilling over from June, actually, because it's going to be technological acceleration due to that Uranus Pluto trine. They're going to shove it down our throats. And so let's talk a little bit about the astrocartography. By the way, when we talk about astrocartography, you know, there's another trademark being filed in the US.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yep. Besides the one in France and the EU, now there's one that's being uncovered. It was filed actually in June 2026 itself. This time in the US, trademarking astrocartography as a term of usage. I'm feeling exhausted.
Yeah. Well, we can always call it something else, you know.
Yeah, sure. And those boxes highlighted in magenta will be where this Cancer new moon in July 2026 will be angular. That's conjunct Mercury retrograde, by the way. So we're going to revisit some stuff.
Yes.
And this is squaring Pallas and Vesta in Aries. So definitely some kind of disclosure, revisiting something that's been previously shoved under the rug and now is being pulled up again. And
and look to Aries folk, right? Like Tulsi Gabbard is an Aries sun, maybe Mars. You know, Iran has a sun in Aries. So where this backward moving information readdressing some of these people already, Tulsi's like leaking or sharing, not leaking because it's files that are available, you know, information, right? I think she's positioning for the election in 28.
And then those boxes in red on the map is where a highly aspected Uranus is angular in the world. Because over this Cancerian new moon, Uranus is highly aspected. I've just put down here that although the two boxes of energies do not overlap, the energies are pretty much concentrated back to where we were, which is very close to the Straits of Hormuz around Iran, over here. And the west coast of the US. Can't catch a break, can't we? So these two places are still highlighted over this July 2026 Cancerian new moon. And of course, I need to also mention here that on July 4th, 2026, the Mars and Uranus in Gemini conjunction also highlight these two places as well. The west coast of US and also Iran cuts across Lebanon. So I'm anticipating like, you know, the blue and white state can't, or should I say, will step on the accelerator with southern Lebanon's attacks. So this is all baked in with this Cancerian new moon. So the peace deal, what peace deal?
Well, memorandum of understanding.
Right. And so what can be the potential manifestations? Um, there can be a July 4th attack in the US, and they may actually put the blame on Iran, that country. So it's just like that 9/11 playbook that I do see. And this may happen in the West Coast, but I'm going to say, but this may also happen on the East Coast because of who the mayor is right now.
Okay. So,
Okay.
so you mean the mayor of where? New York?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also potential flooding because Cancer is a water sign. There can be potential flooding of biblical proportions occurring in more than several countries. This is from the lunation chart that I've looked at. This is concerning, but let me move forward with things. There's going to be mysterious and frequent fires occurring in both the UK and US, particularly. This is coming from, on one hand, the new moon and Mercury retrograde conjunction, Sun, Moon, and Mercury retrograde, squaring Pallas and Vesta in Aries. But then there's also a highly expected Uranus in Gemini for this particular lunation. And Uranus in Gemini, with the astrocartography energy, is angular over in the US and UK, particularly. Mm-hmm. So there could be fire, something that triggers it off, because Uranus is ruled by that Mercury retrograde in Cancer. Right. That's on the new moon point. And rinse and repeat regarding peace deal or ceasefire, whatever that means now. The more we say those terms, it means less and less. Mm-hmm. And I do see that the Straits of Hormuz is likely to be closed into July. So this will cause oil to really that's why I did mention that prices are going to skyrocket and reach a new high, but that will be for a brief moment. And Trump's approval rating, I think, is going to really tank in July. This is due to the cost of living crisis and, the policies and all those stuff going on. But when we talk about impeachment, I do see it starting somewhat post-midterms around May 2027. Of course, there's other stuff like market manipulations and personal profiteering from, the kids. There's going to be record-breaking daily heat waves as well, like the one in India. Like I told you, it's 40 over degrees Celsius, but it's 120 to 130 Fahrenheit. So it's way up there. This may actually spread to other regions in the world because of the El Nino thing. Yeah, and the El Nino thing is even just having Chiron in Taurus. That's the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, right? So even Chiron would preview extraordinary weather wounds right to the Earth, Taurus. So there's something there about, and then the El Nino adds to that. That's correlating with, hey, chironic wounds in the sign of Earth. And it's squared by Jupiter in hot Leo. That's amplifying that as well. Yeah, just Jupiter will inflate everything it touches, so including the solar energy, sun energy as well. So this may lead to droughts and crop failure subsequently. And moving on to the stock markets, I do see a downward spiral trajectory over this July 2026 Cancerian new moon. The next part of this prediction, I kind of looked at Elon's chart, and there can be a potential large-scale SpaceX rocket failure and subsequent crash that may contribute partly to the downward spiral trajectory of the stock market. Okay. And I've put here exactly why, if people want to know why. And I mentioned earlier that the World Cup will be used as a platform for geopolitical and socio-political issues. There's actually a major ongoing protest and solidarity movement that's taking place in Newark, in New Jersey. And I do see this spilling into the World Cup space.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I do see people getting arrested, or there's heightened security, or even jail time. And this may actually cause further uproar. Okay, I do see this because we're approaching summer. There will be more and more protests as Pluto goes out of bound in the southern declination. There's a Leo total solar eclipse, and there's a planetary parade coming up. I advise people to avoid crowds or go to places that's less crowded, because they will be doing some kind of mass arrest for social stability purposes. Okay? And there's violence also baked into it. This can be people like George Soros trying to stir, some bovine scatology or bullshit while these are going on.
Right.
And I know it's summertime, right? We all want that hot boy and hot girl summer. So there's music festivals going on all over the world. But these can be weaponized to become super spreading sites to drive the next narrative of the pandemic. I just want to know people.
Right. Well, Venus in Virgo, July 9th to around August the 7th. And it is a sign of issues to do with health. And she is the goddess of music and the arts. So you could pair those for sure, just on a very simple, cartoony level, especially with the South Node still in Virgo until the 27th or so, mean node. So there's a lot of that field of energy there, at least I say July 9th to almost the end of the month.
Yes, and of course, Mars is also approaching that Gemini new moon point, squaring Nessus at 23 to 25 Gemini Pisces. That's when that square happened in June. So Mars is going to activate that Gemini new moon. And Gemini, as we know, this can be something communicable. Squaring Nessus and Pisces, communicable diseases.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like a possibility. Hopefully not, but I can imagine that would be a way it would outpicture itself. And I think Nessus, he's the guy with the poison robe, right? They killed Hercules. So all said and done, the word poison can be a part of his story as well. Purposeful poison and treachery and poison.
Right. And for the next one, this is just like a rehash of what I was talking about with the Gemini new moon that we just had in the middle of June 2026. I won't go through this again, but this is just for a recap if people don't want to watch, the video that came out in early June regarding the month. And so now let's go on to the full moon, because this is interesting. Because this Aquarius full moon happening late July 2026 has got that Barbeau basket and cradle baked into the configuration of it all. And I know it's a lot to read, so I'll just kind of pick and choose. Basically, I'm writing about the Barbeau basket energetically, what this can mean. And this new moon at 7 degrees of Aquarius basically highlights that. And on top of the Barbeau basket or cradle, we also have, of course, nodal axis changing signs and Saturn stationing retrograde. All these are baked into this Aquarius full moon. And of course, the traditional ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. So this gives it extra stuff. impotency. I won't be going through the whole, step of things because people can read.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just want to
Take some screenshots for sure.
Yes, I just want to mention here that the cradle pattern that's being highlighted here, I've also included trans-Neptunian objects, and so on and so forth. So the core essence may deviate from what people know if they only use planets to read the charts. So the core essence here from this lunation is a world system where power, information, and ideology are continuously negotiated between centralized authority and decentralized networks. This is even more evident back in June, where was it the UK copied what they implemented in Australia to control social media consumption of under 18s. Yeah. So we will see that consideration more and more and more. Probably it is because the old matrix is breaking down. And of course, the powers have to, swoop in and control what we know. But you do know that they can't keep us down.
Yeah, there's even some of that going on in Canada to control social media and keep it away from youth. But I don't see how they're going to enforce that. But I can see how the minds of the young, not having access to information that can, give them a perspective would be a way of trying to keep a lid on what is a generation that could care less about the old structures.
So that's why there needs to be stabilization policies coming through anything that's communication related. Maybe they want to have a certain narrative framing so that just to keep people in the dark, but good luck. Transit Pluto is going out of bound in the southern declination. Good luck with that. Trining Uranus till 2028. And I'll just leave it as that. On top of that, trade and alliances will go through reshuffling over this Aquarius full moon, end of July 2026. And there's going to be further market turbulence that's going on. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So how about the astrocartography then? Before both of us can't use that term. And those boxes in magenta will be where this full moon in Aquarius at 7 degrees is angular. So these are Japan, Western Australia, Greenland, West Brazil. I mean, Greenland is pretty self-evident because of the resource mining from all the, Silicon Valley millionaires, and now there's a trillionaire. And also South Africa, Madagascar, and Straits of Hormuz is highlighted again.
Is that Hawaii as well? What am I looking at in the middle box? Off of
Yes, this is Hawaii.
Yeah, I thought so.
But further, this is not far from the West Coast, so this can be some geoseismic activity or catastrophes happening on the West Coast because, it may happen in Hawaii, but the huge tsunami waves brought by the former lunation in Cancer, squaring Aries placements, this may bring tsunamis to the West Coast as well. But of course, there's also environmental disasters. I mean, last month's video, there's so many things highlighting what's going on in California. And right now, there's a fire going on. Was it at Boyle Height? Or Boyle's Height? Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Are you using Vesta? I see that often you're talking fire. There's Vesta and Pallas together. So she is a flame, right? So are you tracking besides Mars, which can often bring arson and also just heat? Are you talking about Vesta when we talk fires? I'm just curious.
I mean, Vesta is the hearth of the home, right?
Right, but it's a flame, yeah. So
as a flame, her symbol is basically a flame, and then Pallas Athenas or Pallas is very much linked to Jupiter. I mean, she's the goddess asteroid that's birthed out of Zeus's or Jupiter's forehead, you know. And
Well,
so there's like fire connotation to it.
yeah. Okay, that's good to know. So I use her for fire too. So and I think fires coming through are strong for us, whether they're natural or not in July. So I'm just double checking your methodology.
Yeah. I mean, I personally have Pallas and Vesta conjunct in my chart, opposing my sun. That's why people can't bullshit me when I do pattern recognition.
I think that's a good thing to have. Athena, I've noticed with clients, it can represent one's thirst for knowledge, wisdom,
Mine's in Sagittarius,
yeah, intellectual curiosity, and then the Vestal flame is your ardent, sacred passion and duty to tend the fire of the intellect, the knowledge, and wisdom in your world, which you do. So,
I mean, mine is conjunct Neptune, also in Sag, opposing my sun. And all my Sag placements are ruled by an exalted Jupiter. So.
Wonderful. Neptune is good for doing online stuff. So wonderful.
Well,
seriously, it does. It works that way. Neptune works in clients' charts as glamour, but also in our modern world, it's like in Hollywood. It's also like things connected to our social media landscape.
Well, also the internet for short, right?
And internet.
Then, if people like the background of what I have now, then please comment below this video and let me know. I can do many tricks with, lighting for this. And going back to the Straits of Hormuz, because part of the story is captured in the astrocartography map for this Aquarius 7-degree full moon, I do see conflict resumption and escalation. By the way, the blue-white state has got a moon in Leo that's highlighted by this Aquarius full moon.
Yeah. I don't see this being over yet either. This whole situation of the memorandum of understanding. because there's not a buy-in from the blue and white state who keeps disrupting peace. So
they're always like, they want their greater Israel project, and that's why Southern Lebanon is the war zone now. So there can also be like a no-flight zone. I do see this being carved out over this 7-degree Aquarius full moon. Okay. So traveling routes will need to be rerouted, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And one country that I want to mention here, because I don't think I've mentioned enough, I've written an article on Substack regarding Cuba. But this particular Aquarius full moon energetically is also activating Cuba as well. We all know that there's a humanitarian crisis going on over there. This will be exacerbated over this Aquarius full moon for Cuba. In terms of Mexico, this can be back to Honduras Gate, wanting them to be more, was it right wing?
Right wing.
Now they're left, right? Yeah, because of the current president. So there can be something pertaining to this Honduras Gate. And closer to me, there's Myanmar, Eastern Thailand, and Indonesia. There's more geoseismic stuff going on. In June, we already got a massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake happening in the Philippines, which is over here. You can see this box here. Mm-hmm. And then this is in the Southeast Asian zone, by the way. And this is because there's a Mars and Ceres conjunction going on. This energy is also over Central Africa, Greece, because Greece has recently had a protest because of the blue and white state in Athens. Mm-hmm. But you know what's really interesting? Albania is in there, in that list. So do I see the whole Albania thing going away now? This is going to spill over to July. even
Mm-hmm.
August. And Ivanka has already been banned by certain leaders into acquiring estate.
Wow.
So this is not going away anytime soon. And of course, Istanbul. Turkey basically got their uprising and protests and revolution over there recently. So I do see this place being reactivated again.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the Pacific Ocean as well. For this, I attribute this Mars and Uranus angular energy to the El Nino, because nothing beats heat like hot, hot Mars.
Yeah.
And when it's conjunct Ceres, burn, baby, burn. That's all I can say. I have put here that Mexico on top of Honduras Gate, there can be a potential huge natural disaster happening over there as well. This is just something that I just want to throw out there. Okay?
Okay. And that's based off that full moon chart.
Yes.
Yep.
That has got Saturn, nodal axis, and the Barbeau Basket cradle all baked into it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now we've got Mars and Ceres conjunct. Ooh, it's going to be an interesting lead up to the eclipse in August. So I've reached my last slide, and I think we're doing pretty good in terms of time. And for this Aquarius full moon, what do I see? I see Ebola making a resurgence here. And the extent of spread will be announced, and this is going to cause mass hysteria in that way. And I did put here that when July hits, we are so close to Pluto going out of bounds, very close to the total solar eclipse in the middle of August. So I do see even in July, the riots, uprisings, revolutions keep coming. In June, we have seen what's happening in Southampton in the UK with Henry Novak's case. And then the beheading case that happened in Belfast in Northern Ireland, something of that nature. And then you've got a mounting cost of living crisis, all those stuff clustering together. This may actually lead to governmental policies or measures in shutting down the internet over this Aquarius full moon in order to contain the mess of it all. And because Aquarius is also something digital, like Bitcoin, there may be final stage talks over this full moon to have Bitcoin as a country's national currency. Chiron's already in Taurus, the sign of currency. So it's time to rethink the whole thing. But decentralization squared by Jupiter in Leo is something for people to think about, because it's a centralization of power. I did mention about this earlier. Some potential crap is happening in Mexico. We may also see Category 5 hurricane and typhoon in the North Atlantic region. Ferocious ones. The next few, I've basically looked at the chart of TikTok. And I don't know how active you are on TikTok still, but I do see a large wave of creators receiving bans that's coming. And they may become TikTok refugees that may need to flee to other apps for safe haven sake. Okay. I also do see large-scale cyber attacks, pretty much that Barbeau Basket and Cradle energies configured with the asteroids and trans-Neptunian bodies. So I've reached the summary for 2026 July. This is a ramping up month to prep us for the main event, which is the August eclipse portal. with a lot of things going on, as I've written here.
Mm-hmm.
Just that it's ramping up. This is like a rehash of what I typed last month that is still relevant because the whole immigration problem is, particularly in Europe, has been a mess. So I do see that in July, there's going to be even more riots going on.
Well, even in Canada, which we are considered to be friendly to immigrants, I guess is the word. We just had like a bit of a news scandal where people's immigration to get Canadian citizenship based on precedent that they have a family member within the last X number of years who's Canadian. There was a huge recall of immigration citizenship certificates and passports on hold, and it's making all of the news right here. Like, we don't do this kind of thing. Oh, we are recalling your immigration status and we're going to look at it again, or your passport won't work right now. And so that's trending here in our headlines. In Canada's chart, we're an Aries rising nation, and again, Neptune, Saturn, right? Let's control seaside boundaries and borders, and immigration is Neptunian. And so it really even is hitting our little Canada, and we're so politically right, left, right? We're so politically correct that we don't even do immigration control, which has been a problem. That's why Justin Trudeau, one of the reasons he didn't win the election, redo. So again, there is something about this theme about worldwide boundaries until Saturn leaves Aries in 2028 April, with Neptune still co-present. We're going to see continual issues arising in multiple countries around the world about more stricter standards around immigration.
But isn't it also true that transit Saturn now is squaring the Sun-Uranus in Canada's chart in Cancer?
Yes, probably. I never look at Canada as much as I should because I'm always looking at the United States. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Canada's chart right now as well, for sure.
Because I do see the next thing being that Mars and Saturn conjunction that's together with Chiron, all in Taurus, coming up in 2028, squaring Pluto in Aquarius. That one is a gnarly one, materially speaking or resource-wise.
Yeah. It'll be a thing. We were a very divided nation on the last election, right? Neck and neck for the conservatives versus the I mean, I don't even vote in my own country, the liberals. Well, I did last time, but that's the first time. But the other thing I was going to say is Ebola. So, the last Ebola scare was in 2014, the big one. And that here we are 12 years later. So we're looking at Jupiter energy here. So again, like, cycle repeats, history repeats, patterns repeat. And, here we go, Ebola 2.0, and the scare is on. So we lived through it in 2014, and we're here to tell the tale.
I mean, I don't have anything to add more pertaining to July because I've already mentioned it in our June's video, because there's some spilling over effect pertaining to that. I do have a video that I am very excited about coming out on my channel that's pertaining to self-employment in the new age. Because I do see that as the matrix basically breaks down or dissolve, collapse, more and more people will be in the mode of self-employment.
Yes. And maybe we could go back to more of the artisanal way of making things, away from a kind of mass production factory. Like, you'll get like higher value for the thing you do as a human being. So I'm really disenchanted a bit with when people, well, first of all, if you try to, I'm going to go to AI for a minute. If you try to use AI right now for astrology, it hallucinates like crazy, still makes a ton of mistakes. It'll tell you things that aren't true. So right now, if you're trying to use AI as a replacement for, a real astrology, look at it with your eyeballs. And it's not yet working properly, perfectly, safely. But, apps are coming out. People are creating like astrology apps where you just plug in your information and the app's going to give you information about what's going on in your chart. And you could do that. But if you want to get a real tuned in look at your sky. It's not cookie cutter, and I don't even do readings. I'm not pitching myself because I'm too busy teaching. But a real person looking at your chart is like a bespoke moment. You're getting that connection to the reader to you, their intuition and your intuition are interfacing. And it takes what you're getting isn't just some kind of printout, right? It's the actual human being intersecting you. And I wonder if that's going to be the thing. Like, this person made this object, this person, that it could actually create a premium on human beings.
That's because when you open someone's map, you're not only seeing things in isolation, you're seeing the whole like integration of it all, the sky map of it all. And it's the integration aspect done by a human in an interpretive way that is the true value of things.
Exactly. And it's what the human that you're interfacing with chooses to extract in the moment from your chart. Otherwise, you could have a 200-page document in any given reading, in any given moment. It's like the human interface is the tuned into you energy. It's a little like Jesus said in the Bible, where two or more you are gathered, there I shall be. Where two souls are intersecting with each other in a collaborative union of any kind, there is something, a third element that can't be accounted for. I'm not sure that artificial intelligence, at least at this stage, is a soul that's interfacing.
Or sentient.
Well, there may be some forces communicating through AI, but maybe they're not the ones you want to pair up with.
Well, I'm coming out with a self-help tutorial to kind of kickstart people onto their self-employment journey, because I've gone through that myself. I know how hard it is to go through that reset of the mind. But once you overcome that hump, there's never looking back.
Yeah, that's such a good point. A lot of more people will become more creative, more artistic, more inspired, and other people will get caught up in a feeling that they've just become a victim. It's certain people respond differently to change. So we have to see how the world unfolds. Donny, thank you for your time and your great detail, as always. And go watch Donny, go watch his channel. Of course, this is a collab, but certainly check his writing out in Substack. He's extremely busy over there. He does posts notes daily. So he's always on the ball with the updates in Substack land. So it's really fun to watch you there too.
There will be a very interesting podcast coming up with your good friend, Laurie.
So, are you going to be with Dan? Oh, me or Dan? What? Who?
Dan is a good friend.
Yeah, but aren't you going to be? Yeah, have you guys scheduled your podcast? You and Dan?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Dan Waits. Wonderful. I love Dan.
World Astrology Report.
Yeah, World Astrology Report coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing you two chat together. That'll be fun to watch. All right, I'm going to head off and have a late breakfast, and you should get to bed.
I should, and keep on working.
Oh, Donny, thank you for being here. Thanks for all your time and your detailed effort. Appreciate you. And everyone, don't forget to subscribe to his channel and all of that as well. In the collab, you'll see him as an opportunity to click through to him. All right.
And till next month, that's when the good bits come, the eclipses.
Yeah, then we're going to really be rocking and rolling. All right, dear. Have a wonderful day. I'm just going to sign us both off so I can go have breakfast.
Ciao.
Have a good sleep, I should say. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.